correct me if I'm wrong, but you were actually booked to wrestle Hulk Hogan back in the day, correct?
Yeah, I think twice. Once I remember for sure at the Civic Center in Wheeling, West Virginia. And he didn't show up. No reason why. He just didn't show up, and Sergeant Slaughter took his place. He knew what kind of shape I was in, even at that age. Because anybody who knew me, they always knew that what kind of shape I was in that ring. And I really believe to this day, he knew that I would blow him up in about 10 minutes to where he wouldn't be able to catch his breath. And he didn't want no part of it. After the second reign as champion, I went back to where I loved between the first reigns.
Okay.
Where I would go back and take shots here, take shot there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without that obligation of any kind. I would just accept what matches I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing all over again. But then it did come time. I was a realist, and I knew I was getting up there in age. I felt that there was time that I wasn't going to stick around that much longer, and I was going to get out. My main thing was, I don't know if take it the way you will, I wanted to get out on top.
Yeah.
I wanted to get out while people still would come and see me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get out when I was a guy who the fans had enough of. They've seen enough of you, and what are you still doing here? Why don't you go, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to get out before it got like that. I wanted to get out while I was still on top. Mm-hmm. When the Zbyszko thing happened, nobody, I think Larry believed that he wasn't given the opportunity to be what he could have been, which was a headliner, because he was looked upon as Bruno's protege. Mm. And he felt that as long as he was Bruno's protege, he would never be looked upon seriously as the guy who could, be the next guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's how it started out, that he thought about having that workout, which turned out to be what it did. And as you know, what tremendous business that did.
Yes.
Shea Stadium. You know, what a lot of people don't know today, after all these years, why it was so amazing about Zbyszko and I in Shea Stadium. We drew well over 40,000 people, okay? But that same night, the Yankees were playing Baltimore at Yankee Stadium because they were playoff.
Wow.
The playoffs had started, but they were for the playoffs coming up, you know? And the Steelers were playing the Giants. This is September.
Yeah.
August the 9th. This was August the 9th.
Okay.
And the Steelers were playing the New York Giants at the Giants Stadium on an exhibition game.
Wow.
So that night, that's a heck of a night to have that kind of thing going on and still draw 43, 44, 45,000 people, whatever it was. That's how hot that thing was. And the great thing about that, too, is because it was after that whole thing, I came into my retirement. So I wanted to get out on top. I think I did.
And you did. Now, you and I have talked about this before, and but not obviously during this documentary. Hulk Hogan wrote in his book that the sellout at Shea Stadium should be credited to him and Andre.
Well, then he should. Him and Andre wrestled in White Plains, New York. After that, McMahon wanted to try them out. They drew like 1,200 people in an arena that holds about 50,000. So he could only draw 1,400 people there. But in Shea Stadium, he drew that gate. He wasn't in Pittsburgh. He wasn't in Boston. He wasn't any place else where we turned away thousands of people. We sold out Washington at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then at night we sold out Baltimore the same night. Hogan wasn't there. This guy is tremendous gall. I mean, for him to say something like that, that is guts. This is the same guy who says that he took wrestling out of the smoke-filled little back alley, whatever he called it, to mainstream. Before this idiot, and I'll call him an idiot, came into the scene, there was an Argentino Rocca who was wrestling in Madison Square Garden and all the other big arenas on a regular basis. And before Rocca, which is way before my time, guys like Jimmy Londas, the Strangler Lois, and so many other great guys were wrestling at the major arenas. Mm-hmm. And I'm speaking for myself after the Rock era. I wrestled in all the major arenas before this guy was ever heard of. For him to say that he's the guy who brought it to the arena, I find it disgusting and arrogant. And in fact, I will blame him as being one of the big guys who took it from the main arenas and took it back down to the small arenas. Because I like to ask Hogan and anybody else, how often do they go to Madison Square Garden these days?
I think like twice a year, if that.
Not even that. They didn't go for a whole year.
Yeah.
Now they go once a year. They come to my town of Pittsburgh twice a year. Philadelphia here. Every place else. Seems to me like they are the ones who took it out of the main arena, and in fact, he takes credit for bringing it to the main. I think it's such arrogant. Why don't he talk about the wonderful things he did to this business by being one of the wonderful steroid chemical robots that came to this business, which is an unfortunate and tragic thing because there have been a lot of deaths, drug related.
Some people don't know this, but your last active match was teaming with Hulk Hogan, correct? In the Meadowlands against...
No, not in the Meadowlands, in the Baltimore Civic Center.
Oh, okay. Against Akeem and Bundy, right?
Against Bundy and the one-man gang.
Oh, one-man gang.
They called them,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That was the last match.
What do you? How did you get along with Hogan, or did you just?
It wasn't a question of getting along. I just, like I said, I hated everything that went on during that time, and I just went in the ring and did my thing and left.
Yeah.
There was nothing communication wise. I don't think. No, it was nothing. It was just something I felt that I was trapped into because of the circumstances I told you about.
Yeah.
And so I went through with each one of these matches. But, but all the same.
You wrestled Pedro when Pedro was champion. Were there ever any talks to make matches with you and Backlund when Backlund was champion?
No. At that time, I think it was at the end. But I'm very proud of that match I had with Pedro Morales. We went about an hour, 17 minutes, strictly scientific, clean match, for the whole hour. Terrible conditions, rain, winds. It was terrible. But I'll tell you what, in my opinion, that was a classic match that Pedro and I had. It was a great, great match. Now, with Backlund, there was never any such talk.
Do you think that, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, do you think Backlund resented your popularity when you guys were wrestling together? He was champion and you were wrestling on other towns and other shows and doing better crowds and that kind of thing?
You know what? I really can't answer that because I never got that close with Backlund to know what was he thinking, what were his thoughts about this or that. To this day, I really don't know the guy well at all. I mean, I met him, of course.
Yes.
But as far as my opinion, what did he think about this or that, I really have no idea because I never heard anything. I never heard him express an opinion or anything like that. So I really honestly don't know.
Now, when you were doing color commentary and the business started to change, Hogan came in and they started using different guys and different kind of matches. How hard was it for you to sit there as a color commentator while you saw the business going into this new direction?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't know what was happening because I had retired. When I was called to come back as a color commentator and that, I gave it some thought. And then I thought, hey, why not? Because I was told to be once every 3 weeks. I thought, but I must say that even though for a while wrestling did have a big boom in the very beginning, but I never believed that it would be lasting. As far as the arena now, keep in mind, I'm an arena guy.
Yeah.
We didn't know pay-per-view events in my day. It didn't exist. We didn't know merchandising and how big that could be. That stuff didn't exist. I'm going strictly arena.
Sure.
I felt when I saw what was going on that it would be a matter of time that the arenas would not be successful anymore because I didn't believe in what they were doing, number one. I saw the changes that were coming about, and I thought they were bad. And most disturbing to me, I saw the drug use, the steroids use and abuse, and that bothered me tremendously. And it wasn't only steroids, there were other issues. And that bothered me to the point where I thought, no, my time has been passed. I don't belong here. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't too long that I said, no, I don't want any part of this. I've got to get out.
Do you think that's what's hurt the business today, that era there, when they started focusing more on physiques and bodies as compared to how talented you could go in the ring?
No, I think they came in, I think McMahon came in with a completely different mentality. As he calls it sports entertainment. I don't think he was interested in the wrestling of that era. He wanted to bring on changes. and I think the one of the things he did, which financially might have been good, I don't know, but I think he went more on television as far as big productions, as far as this and that. And when you do that, and maybe made the big bucks from sponsors, I don't know anything about that, but I do know this: that once you do all that and you put top guy versus top guy at the on television shows, then you lose it for the number one. You lose it for the arena. Number two, if what he did on TV turned off a lot of people, like the fans of Meyer, let's say.
Yeah.
Then he lost those fans, and then he created new fans, but the new fans were not the loyal fans of Meyer. I remember when I wrestled, whether it be Madison Square Garden or Boston Garden or Pittsburgh, as far as my eyes would take me, I could see the same faces month in and month out.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have that today. They give so much of it on television. Well, number one, they don't give real reason why anybody should go to the arena. What are they going to go to the arena and see different than what they're seeing on TV? So what should they go pay at an arena when they're seeing it for free on television?
Yeah.
I mean, on TV, they give you, I don't know the name of these guys because I never watch wrestling, but of the names that I remember, let's say, like this Undertaker guy, well, he wrestles another top guy, whoever it may be. I don't know the names. I can throw you a bunch of names, but they're on television wrestling each other.
Yeah.
So how are you going to put those matches at the arena?
Yeah.
You know, and draw that. And then not only that, but the way they start doing things, like, for example, years ago, they had Undertaker having caskets and supposedly burying somebody alive. And they had some where they crucified somebody. You know, that's a big turnoff to a lot of people. And I think that all these things, a lot of people may watch it, although their ratings for cable, it's okay. But when you compare their ratings with network television, they're really Mickey Mouse. Yeah. But cable-wise, in comparison to other cable shows, I guess they're still, that's what they do, a 2.5, 3 rating.
Like a 3.7 sometimes, 3.5.
Okay. You know, so for cable maybe it's okay, but you can compare it with, you know what I mean?
Right.
So the audience that they draw, they on TV, they'll maybe sell merchandise to them. Maybe they'll do this and that. But these same people, it's obvious that they could go to the arenas, the McMahon's promotions, because those people won't buy the tickets to go to the arena.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.